Good afternoon. Yesterday I shared with you some of my story about having grown up being sexually abused. One of the things I mentioned in that video was that I had received a life-altering epiphany that said, you are not responsible for your father's choices, but you are responsible for how you allow them to impact your life. I really hope you heard that. And I hope you have thought about it, because for each and every one of us, we have been victimized in a variety of ways. Perhaps it was abuse, perhaps it was domestic violence, discrimination, bullying. Some situations are much more significant than others, but we have all experienced some of those things. Do we allow ourselves to live as victims of what we have experienced, or do we choose, as I did, to find a path forward that allows us not to have that impact our lives today? Stephen Covey, there's a quote from him that I dearly love. He said, "I am not a product of my circumstances. I'm a product of my decisions." We all have circumstances that are unfair. We all have decisions that we have the freedom to make. The greatest freedom we experience in life is the freedom to choose. We get to choose who we are, where we're going, and how we're going to get there. Regardless of what we have experienced, we have that choice. And how we exercise that choice will determine the trajectory of our lives going forward. If we choose to live in a place of victimhood and use that as an excuse or a rationalization for everything that's wrong with our lives and everything we can't accomplish, we're going to stay there. If, on the other hand, we choose to find healing and a path forward, then there are no limits. We get to choose who we want to become and where we want to go. You know, so often when we experience those things in life that seem to be dreadfully unfair or even morally abhorrent, we want to shove them in the closet and pretend that they don't exist. The reality is that doesn't work. We may shove them in the closet, but the voices will sneak out under the bottom of the closet door. The voices that tell us that we're inadequate, that we're stupid, that for this or that or whatever reason, we'll never know what we could become. Every abuser, one way or another, sends the message, if you hadn't done this, I wouldn't have had to do that. The reality is you are never responsible for somebody else's choices, regardless of the circumstances that you experience as a result of those choices. Freedom comes when you make the determination that you are not going to allow those things to affect the trajectory of your life. That's what emotional freedom, achieving emotional freedom now, is all about. It's separating your story from their story and owning your story so that you can choose to move forward and become the person that in your heart of hearts you have always known that you could be. Your story is different than mine because we're different individuals. And yet the path forward to achieving emotional freedom is the same. It involves owning our story and rejecting the stories of those who have abused us in one way or another. Stay tuned and learn more tomorrow. Thanks for listening.